business, then I hold her down. If Steve gets to acting foolish, thank God I got a sister like her. She tried to beat me up, so I became a fighter. Now look at us, chicken wing, bougie thing. We couldn't be more different. She's the yang to my gang. Like she's organizing kind of shy. No, I ain't that. Book smart, but she's still a little bit sick. Singing Kesha, that's her favorite. She's drinking coffee every day, like she's so fancy. You already know she wanted the fast lane. Ready for this 5 years ago. She's so fancy. She know what she likes. Cheers to their marriage, her Cinderella life. No joke, there was a whole song, but I just couldn't memorize it in time. So I'm sorry, but that's Amy, that was part one of the speech. Okay, I worked hard on it. So, part two, guys. I don't know if this is hard for you to believe, but I'm very hard to please at first. So, when my sister first started dating Steve, I was in another country. I was traveling at the time. So she literally started dating him right when I left. So I was gone a whole year while they were dating. Every single time I talk to my sister, she's like, Jesse, I met this guy. He's great. Just be nice to him. Please, Jesse, just be nice to him. He's really nice, I swear. And I'm just like, well, we can't jump the gun, Amy. I have to meet him first. We can't sit here and say I'm going to be nice to him if I don't know him. So I'm pretty sure Steve's probably going to deny it now. But I'm pretty sure that he told me he was more afraid to meet me than my dad. Yeah, which is true, which I mean is completely understandable because even though I'm the little sister, I'm extremely protective. So for a while, I didn't really, I wouldn't say I didn't trust Steve, I just didn't care for him. But it was just recently, like, our relationship started growing, I loved him, but like, it was just recently that something happened that I was just like, wow, like, he really loves my sister. He's gonna take care of her. As you know, my dad just passed. We were in the hospital room. And my dad was laying down. It was hard for him to talk and just respond to things that we were saying, but Steve had his eyes filled with tears and he just said, I promise you I'm going to take care of your daughter. It was just everything I needed to hear from him, and he didn't even say it to me. It was just him saying it to my dad, and it's exactly what I needed to hear from him. And right then and there, I came home that night and I told my mom, Mom, I love Steve. He's going to make a good part of our family. Also, there was a second part to this. It was a... Thank you, Nina.
Yeah.
Maybe I might not remember this, so maybe I just have to cut short.
It's about a mug.
Okay, guys, yeah, I really can't remember this one that I remember, so I'm just going to let the next person speak. Thank you. Amy, I love you. And I know Monica, most people know me, I'm kind of like an adopted child of Swartz Estate. But I've known her since 2003. We've had like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 classes together. But on the second day I walked in and I said, there's this short little girl, I don't know how tall she is. But I know that no matter where she sits, I can see over her and see the board. And she's in all my classes. But we had German together. I had German together for 4 years. It was great. We call each other Frau, just so you guys know. If you guys ever hear that at some point of the night, I'm sure you will. But yeah, I'm glad that she let me speak. Because most of the time she tells me to shut up. Stop talking. But I love Amy and Steve. Anybody who knows me knows I love Steve. Steve's one of my favorite guys. So, I've had a lot of fun times with Amy, so I know Steve will continue. Anybody who knows Amy knows she loves to vacation. Loves it. She takes me to the beaches. I've got lovely sunburns from her. She tried to hook me up with some crazy person one time when we went out. And then we went all the way to Florida to go to Starbucks, lay at the beach, and go to a really bad St. Patrick's Day party. So nothing we couldn't have done in Erie, but it's good we went to Florida to do that. As Amy will remember, like I said, we've done so many things as kids, but one of my favorite things is I would always have a Super Bowl party every single year. Amy doesn't care about football. I mean, she will pretend for Steve, but she really doesn't care about football or sports. But one of my favorite things is when I first started having them, people were only allowed in the basement. And I was so excited because when I got my own place, people could go wherever they wanted. So that was one of my favorite parts of it all. Like I said, we've been through a lot. Our early 20s, I'm not going to really mention what year in our early 20s, but we learned a lot of things together. We learned that we like to dance. We learned that, you know, St. Patrick's Day is a great holiday. Thursdays are great days to be in Erie in the summertime. And we also learned that we should never become bartenders because mixology is not one of our strong points. One of our best quotes is, "Too much vodka, not enough Monster." Sorry, I had to say that one. Too much vodka, not enough Monster. Amy doesn't drink Monster much anymore, might be the reason why. Your team is one of my favorite games we've ever played. It's just I'm going to explain to everybody else, it's just our friend your team. Steve can be on your team, I guess, for the rest of the time. Like I said, Steve's a lucky guy. Just knowing him, you know, I've always known that he'll look out for Amy. You know, he's good. I mean, he cares enough to get involved with, you know, all of our friends and everything. We always have a good time whenever we hang out with each other. One of my favorite things about Steve is he doesn't mind how many times I beat him in the basketball game at school. Sluggers. Doesn't matter how many times I beat him in that basketball game, he'll still play. So he's a good sport. But I just want to say congratulations, and I can't wait to see all the vacation pictures that you guys get, and for just future things, and for beating Steve at other activities down the line, and for you guys to make me more family dinners, you know, whenever I come over. Corn on the cob, it's the best thing. But yeah, I love you guys. I can't wait just to do more stuff together and have more fun. Oh yeah.
As the friends of leaders, Wade, Euro, Troy. As we've gotten older, our group of friends have grown larger, as cultures grew all throughout here, somewhere, this is down here. So, I guess it was quite difficult for one of the guys to bring a new girl into the group. And it's apparently because we were so tight-knit and we were so rowdy. And, was it that bad? But anyway, Steve had a plan, and this was the first sign that I knew Amy was going to be different than the rest. So very intelligently, Steve kept Amy away from the group for a while. And I assumed this was to strengthen the relationship before one of us accidentally ruined it. And step 2 was to prepare Amy for us. And I guess I was the one Steve was most concerned about. And he would tell her things, I found this out afterwards, just like, ignore what he says, you know, don't take it personal. He doesn't mean it like that. And probably this is the most often, he's just miserable, don't listen to him. Amy's solution to all this nonsense was that every time I came up to Erie, she just made sure I was well fed and my cup was never empty. And let me tell you, me and Amy have become very close friends since then. Steve, it has been honored for this very important day with you, and I wish you the best future with Amy. Amy, today you have gained a very loyal man as your husband. You have become part of a caring and loving Bjork family. And lastly, you are married to a close group of friends that will always be here for you. Steve and Amy, congratulations.
So much love from the head table, and we're right over here. I've known Steve, had the pleasure to know Steve since we were extremely young. We go as far back as CCD when we were younger, before we even went to the same school. This is about 15 years ago. We had some girls in our class that were really talented as far as drawing and coloring contest that was held every year called Keeping Christ in Christmas. And Steve and I used to always be very upset because our drawings were never to par with what there was. But 15 years ago, this guy came in second place. And needless to say, me and Steve rode some of these girls pretty hard that day. That I kept Christ and Christmas more with my 8-pack of Crayola crayons than they did. So that was pretty good. We also, I moved to Shenango in 4th grade, and Steve was one of my first friends that I had when I moved to Shenango. Moving to a new school, I was a little afraid, but having Steve there helped the transition a lot easier. And that fall, Steve and I were blessed to be on the same basketball team, the Duke Blue Devils, Shenango 4th grade. Our head coach was my father, Jim Wade. And for the record, we went 9-0 that year, but at one point in time, Steve and I, during a huddle, where my dad was briefing the team on the seriousness of what was about to happen there in 4th grade, Steve and I were playing like twiddling fingers with our fingers, and my dad put us both on the bench and started Johnny Veltri ahead of us. Needless to say, Steve and I went back in the game their second period, and we still won that, and 9-0 that year. But honestly, I don't even know how to begin with these guys right here, with Steve, with Anthony, with John, Troy. I mean, some of the things that we've done, it could be a movie. Whether it's leaving at 11 o'clock at night to go to Ocean City with some of your best friends, 3 of them that never seen the ocean before, and swimming at 5 o'clock in the morning with them because they were so excited, which then led us to sleeping in the cars at 8 o'clock in the morning. And in Ocean City, you can't sleep in the car. It's against the ordinance. So the cops came. Well, Mr. Demko at the time was looking up political science at Penn State and thought he knew better than the cops. So he kind of gave them a little feedback they didn't want to hear. And lo and behold, John admitted to the cop that he had a knife. Well, that one knife turned into 14 knives, and Steve, John, and I all got arrested. Well, don't get me wrong, justice was served that day. Not only did Steve and I get released from our handcuffs, they took John away to prison for the whole day. We continued to celebrate throughout the day, high-fiving. John was in jail. And the icing on the cake was the Penguins won the Stanley Cup that day in 2009. It was a great day for everyone. But honestly, some of the memories we have, you can't always say you live with your best friends. Well, when I was a junior in college, I lived with Steve, I lived with Anthony, and me. We had our own house. And living with them is a lot different than seeing them on a day-to-day basis when you're literally living with them. During that time, I learned that since we all split the heat bill, that the heat was not going to exceed 59 degrees, no matter how cold it was in here. Yoram would literally turn it down to 59 and tell me, Jane, you know better to turn it to 65. And his reasoning behind it is we had enough electric blankets, and Steve would just agree with them, and they'd have electric blankets, and you could see our breath in our house. But going to college and meeting friends and being together, there's been nothing like it, and we have so many memories together. But Steve's had some pretty interesting characters in his life. He had a girl that looked like a Viking. He had a girl that no matter what kind of shoes she wore and what kind of shoes he wore, she was still 3 inches taller than him. And he had a girl that was obsessed with Hello Kitty. So he's had some pretty wild ones. But like John had brought up, when Amy came into the picture, we knew something was going on because he did kind of hide her away from us for a couple months. And we are a pretty wild group of guys. But the thing that always struck me with Amy was when she first came in, she would quit being an asshole, James. Yoram stopped drinking. It was like she knew us, but she really didn't. But she always was direct with us and told us how it was. And it was kind of weird to have her be like that, but we were just that comfortable with her, and she was that comfortable with us, and it was really weird to have that from one of our friends' girlfriends. But we knew she was going to be special. And honestly, you guys, today was such a beautiful day. The weather was great. We are just excited, and I look forward to my wife and I and you guys being married, and my kids calling you Uncle Steve and Aunt Amy. So I love you guys. Congratulations. I hope you have an amazing evening. And here's to you.
Anytime you're ready. So take this back, and now we get a chance to sample some of the delicious Giant Eagle cake. Mr. and Mrs. Stephen Gehrig, everyone. Let's hear it for Amy and Steve. They're going to get back to visiting with some of you, where they can give Steve and his mom, Debbie, a wonderful dance, a wonderful woman, on a wonderful day. Before we get into the open dancing, and I know you're all ready to, you're all set to dance some of that delicious food off. We have one formal dance to get to.